Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was fixing something on my camera. So, hello and welcome, and I'm back with Usama Darkwing Duck, the terror that flaps in the night. And today we are talking about the most famous, best written book in the world, Usama, I believe. Am I wrong? Am I right?
Hey, not only, first of all, it's good to be with you, brother, again. Sorry we were not together last week for whatever reasons, but praise God that we both alive and we're here with our wonderful audience. Not only it's the best story written, not only the best book we're talking about, but the best story in that book, according to verse 3. So if you go to Quran chapter 12 and verse 3, Allah Himself said, we narrate to you the best of the stories. So it is not just the best book in the world, but the best story in the
I
best.
must admit, it's a frustrating, boring story.
It's just because you're an infidel or you're a Islamophobe. That's the only two
I
reasons.
am a proud Islamophobe. Someone I follow on social media on X is Paul Williams, and Paul Williams always comes out with bangers. Like he's got this quote going today from some random American, I don't know, scholar or something, saying that Western society, Western civilization didn't become dominant by its technology, its art, its culture, its thinking, its science. No, no, no. They did it by murdering everyone in their way. And you're like the Muslims had invaded all of North Africa, Asia, Turkey, Europe,
57 Muslim countries so far. I can count them for you.
Western Europe, Eastern Europe. They'd invaded France and Portugal and Spain by the 700s.
Yeah.
What did those Europeans do to them at that point? Nothing. They
Nothing.
were the invaders. They initiated, and they seem to conveniently forget that Islam uses violence. Islam has always used violence, and yeah, very
Only,
frustrating.
only, no, no, no. Let me correct you. They use violence when they have the power, when they have the upper hand. But if they are a small in number or do not have enough weapon to fight, they're so peaceful. They're so loving. They're like, wow.
Oh,
Mhm.
and did you see there's potentially this Muslim candidate that may become the mayor of New York?
Oh, yes. And some of the liberal Democrats are really working so hard to help him to win because there's plenty of Muslim in New York and we need to have the right representatives to the Muslims.
That is
MashaAllah.
really, really scary.
It is
You
so
know,
ridiculous. Maybe we should learn about that from the mayor of London. I don't know. Does American people use think about history as a repeated circle somewhere else before it happened here? I mean, why can't we look at the mayor of London? How much this was good for the British?
not at all. You know what is crazy is when you read social media in the UK, France, Germany. I speak to people. They now casually everyone talks about civil war. Everyone talks about uprisings.
It
Everyone
could
talks about
happen. It could
violence.
happen unless they just go ahead and give it to the Muslims. That's all. One of the two.
But you see, there's this undercurrent. You can see there's this dissatisfaction, this anger that is building. You see it, and it's not a civil war. Civil war is between two groups that are both they are natives of the country. That's a civil war. This is not a civil war because this is
It's
against
invasion war.
foreigners.
Yeah.
So, so
Invasion war.
correct. And I mean, it's crazy how it's become a normal part of the discourse. It's
And,
not
and, and
now.
by the way, if you talk Lloyd, if you talk to all the Muslims in Europe, I don't care what country you go to, they will not tell you we're Swedish. They're not going to tell you we're British. They're not going to tell you we're French. You know, they say we're Muslims. So that's why this for
Loyalty
sure is not a
is
civil
to
war.
Islam.
Yeah.
And this new, what's it, Mamdanga, whatever, from New York. I mean, even if he's legit, the problem is he's going to be favored to, well, he's going to treat Muslims and Islam favorably. And of course, the Muslim Brotherhood is just going to come in there and they're eventually going to assert their influence and dominance. And yeah, this is,
And by the way, Lloyd, that is the norm. If you put a Christian man in a position, he will help the Christian. But the problem is the Christian will help them within the Constitution. The Muslim will ignore the Constitution and help them to take whatever they want to take. And as I always say, you give Muslim an inch, they go for a few miles.
yeah. So, I mean, I'm seeing that this is going to turn really bad. I'm just seeing there's going to be, unfortunately, I mean, everyone I speak to feels there's going to be violence, and if it happens in the UK, everyone feels that I speak to, it's going to spread to France, to Germany, to Holland, to Belgium, that it's going to, Sweden, Denmark, whatever. We'll see. That's unfortunate, but that's what looks like where it's going to go. Because at this point, there's no political solution. So people are going to go, well, but look at Ireland. They are burning down these asylum homes. They're burning down these asylum centers, these hotels. They're attacking them. And people are looking and seeing, well, violence works. Let's do more of that.
Yeah. And by the way, that's the only way Muslim can really uh, do exactly what they're looking for concerning Sharia. I mean, which Muslim country will Muslim be easy? I mean, even if you go to Egypt, do you think the Muslim Brotherhood can take Egypt easily and practice Sharia in Egypt fully, or do you have to fight? They have to fight their own Muslim, other Muslims, of course, and Christian will do their best to say we don't want it, but it doesn't. Our voice in Egypt as Christian is nothing. It is Muslims fighting Muslims to follow Sharia or keep it where we at. That's exactly.
You think why isn't the Middle East peaceful? If Islam brings peace, why is the Middle East peaceful?
Why we don't have one Muslim country in the Muslim world in the last 1450 years where they can flourish in peace? It does not. When you have more Muslims in a place like 100%, that's when Muslims start killing other Muslims. But when we have Muslims 80% or so, that's when Muslims really dominating and killing every non-Muslim. And when you have Muslims 40% or so, that's when they're doing the riots and the burning and the terrorization. And I mean, it doesn't matter what level, but there will never be Muslim peaceful living with other people. And the higher the number of the higher the representation of the Muslims in the land, the worse it is. And when it's 100%, that's when you see really Muslims killing other Muslims.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think things are going to get very interesting. So yeah, let's hope. Let's hope we can make a difference. Tell people to, and also you see more openly public figures talking about Islam, even politicians talking about Islam, and people talking about deportations. I mean, this is you just see the rhetoric is ratcheting up, and you have to wonder where this is going. But at least I think what's important is that people are educated about Islam, are not fooled by Islam, not fooled by the nice words, not fooled by the propaganda, the lies, and
But it is a small, tiny present number of people. I want to see it bigger and bigger. I want to see it grow among, especially younger generation. I mean, I got a phone call yesterday from a friend, and she said, until I listened to you 10 years ago, I did not even know what Islam is. So obviously, there are people learning about Islam, but how many? What is the percentage? Not big. Not big.
I don't know. People are learning. People are starting to. I think the message is getting through, though. There's more and more people starting. They know there's a problem,
Yeah,
and they're not buying the Islam as peace line, unless, of course, they're a raging
sure.
leftist.
And think about the number of Muslims are leaving Islam now is growing. 41% of the Muslim of Iran are no longer Muslims. They are something else. Few hundred thousand of them are Christian, but majority are becoming atheists. Why? Because they start learning about Islam. See, Muslims are Muslims. They stay Muslim because they think they are in the right place. They are on the right track. But when they find out they're lost and there's no truth for where they at, that's when they search for something else. Sadly, the devil is so smart. They leave Islam, become an atheist, and dying to go to hell with Muslims for eternity.
Yeah. No, but also the internet is helping to destroy Islam because people are learning about it. But Bob Katie says this is scary. Our Canadian Prime Minister Carney stated that Muslim values are Canadian values.
Yeah, I saw that video. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He said we worship. He said we worship different, but we are on the same track or something like that. What in the world are you smoking or you drinking, man?
You know what's crazy in the UK now that these numbers are coming out, you find that like in Rotherham, like Muslims are like 4% or less. That's Muslims in total, not just Muslim males, right? But
Yeah.
Muslims in total are 4% or less of the population, but they were responsible for 70% of the sex crimes.
In England, 2 point something, listen, 2.1, I believe, percent of Muslim Pakistani and Bangladeshi are responsible for 84% of child rape. This is given to us by Majid Nawaz, a Muslim man who claimed to be moderate.
No, he's no longer. He's gone back to whatever he was before. He's gone back there. I mean, he's reversed course.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that he belongs to the Quilliam Foundation, which is actually the name of a Englishman who became a Muslim.
Yeah.
People think it's Quilliam. It's so English. No. It's actually you might want to dig a little deeper. So yeah. So there we go. Yeah, but this also Syria. I mean, you're looking at the people that were killed in Syria. This church that was attacked, and then in Nigeria, 200 Christians killed.
Yeah. Last week. Yeah.
And yeah, this is really. I mean, at some point, what do you do to push back?
Not in the Muslim world. We do not have power to push back. And sadly, the church in the West is not standing for the brothers and sisters in Christ who are being crushed by the Muslims in the Middle East. And it seemed to me it's a fault of the church. If the church in the West will wake up, especially here in America, to speak the truth against the Muslims and what they're doing to the rest of the body of Christ, we will not have it that way. Because we send money to all these countries. We actually send aid.
Why does America still send aid to the Taliban, I believe?
I have no idea. Billions, not millions, billions of dollars.
You're like, at some point, that needs to get doged real badly. That's insanity. No, that needs to stop. Honestly, this needs to stop. And I mean, these migrants are responsible. I mean, they're several times more likely to be guilty of violent crimes, sex crimes, child exploitation, various issues, connected dots. Yeah, man, really sad. And the problem is that, I mean, you look at African migrants in the West, 98% of them give the rest a bad name. So,
yeah.
So anyway, we were discussing Joseph.
Absolutely. Joseph it is. Joseph it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, people are going to get angry and people are going to lash out, I think, I suspect at some point people are going to lash out. It's happening in Ireland. I mean, the Irish have a legacy of, the IRA and, fight. That's a recent history of fighting against what they felt as imposition by foreigners, the Brits in this case. And I mean, it could escalate. It's very likely to escalate.
Well, we'll wait and see how it's going to end, because obviously the scripture is very clear. In the end of time, be wars and rumors of wars. It's going to be chaos everywhere. Everywhere. Let's go to Joseph. Let's go to Joseph and his new position in the land of Egypt.
So he's a neighbor of yours, right?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Anyone descended from him? You know anybody?
Manasseh and Ephraim.
Okay, that guy. Yeah. All right. So there are differences, as we've learned, between the story of Joseph in the Quran and in Genesis.
Yeah.
Some serious differences, details that are missing. And none of this, of course, I believe, makes sense in the Quran, because the whole story just seems to be so contrived, as do all the Quranic stories. And the moral lessons seem to be so not just contrived, but forced.
Exactly.
So then they speak of how Joseph attained his position of authority in the land. Genesis 4:41, Joseph said that Pharaoh should search for a discreet and wise man. He did not say, put me over the land, as Muhammad stated in the Quran. So the truth is that Joseph did not ask, but Pharaoh offered it, as written in Genesis 41. Mm-hmm. Joseph's advice was wise, so Pharaoh asked his servants in verse 38, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God? And then, verses 39 to 41, the Pharaoh said to Joseph, inasmuch as God has shown you all this, is no one as discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt.
Notice here, not only we got more details in the Bible, but we got logical details. In the Quran, that is not, you don't have the information, and what is written is not even logical. It makes no sense.
But doesn't the Quran assume that people know the biblical story?
But
You
you're not
mean?
supposed to read the Quran, understand it from the Bible. It's supposed to be the perfect, pure word of Allah, the best of the words of Allah. That is the best. And I love the story of Joseph, and I love so many other parts of the Quran because it does not have any doctrine. It's just a story. It's a history. And if you can believe the history is written like that to be reality, you're out of your mind. And how can you understand it when it's written missing all the details? I'm sorry. No.
It's missing a great deal of details as in every single story, and it makes up crazy details like falling stones crushed their head.
Yeah, yeah. But here's the truth, Lloyd. Muslim will tell you, well, you could not understand the story of Noah or the story of Abraham or the story of Lot or the story of David or the story of because you have to read the rest of the story of the Quran. But here we go, one full chapter, chapter 12. It is the entirety of the story as Muhammad wrote it as best as he can. And when I read it, I still do not know jack about what I'm reading. If I do not know the Bible. That's why, Lord, I tell the Christians or the Jews, when you read the Quran, remove from your head the knowledge which you know about the story you're reading. Don't use your background in your head here. Oh, I know what Muhammad is trying to say. No. Forget about the Bible, put the Genesis account aside, and try to understand the Quran by reading the Quran. Well, good luck for that.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I'm not seeing that. So Pharaoh honors Joseph by putting his own ring on Joseph's hand, clothes him in fine linen, put a gold chain around his neck, and had him ride in the second chariot. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent, no man may lift his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt.
Now, for example, before you read the next statement here, this information does not exist in the Quran. Oh, what you know, Joseph said, oh, make me, make me, I'm the best. Can't you see I'm the best? But so what happened next? It's not there. What happened normally in the history of Egypt, what we're reading in the Genesis account.
Well, so one of the exaggerated statements written by Ibn Kathir was that Joseph was 30 years old when he met with the king. The king spoke to him in, I hope you're sitting down, you're going to be shocked by this. The king spoke to Joseph in 70 different languages.
I don't think we have any pharaoh in Egypt who spoke more than 2-3 languages. I don't think so. And what is the purpose of speaking 70 languages in Joseph's days? I mean, where do we get up with this? What do we learn from it? It was like a contest of bragging about themselves who speak more languages than the other?
This is wisdom beyond our understanding.
Yeah, must be wisdom. 70 languages, 7 different languages.
Right, and Joseph was able to respond in all these languages.
Absolutely. Joseph speak all these languages as well too.
Yeah, and the king liked that because Joseph was so young and obviously had spent all his time just learning languages. So, and Allah, of course, knows best. And don't question Allah because Allah is right.
Sure.
And
Yep.
and
Everybody is wrong and Allah is right. And for sure, Muhammad told the truth.
did Allah say this in the Quran that Joseph spoke 70
No,
languages?
that is a funny thing. I mean, the story of the Quran does not have this information. This was added by Ibn Kathir. And I have no idea where Ibn Kathir come up with this, except that they're making up stuff. What is the purpose? You didn't even give me the story of Joseph to add more nonsense to it.
Right. But clearly, Ibn Kathir was sitting here thinking, this is a boring story. I feel like, let me add a few details to just make it more interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
To put Joseph at 30 years of age will contradict the earlier statement in which Muslim scholars mention that he was at the age of strength, meaning 40, as stated in Ibn Kathir's interpretation of Quran 22:5. We all know people get older as years go by, not younger.
Well, he was 40 and then he became 30. You see, that is, now I know for sure that the Quran is telling the truth.
Allah's miracles know no
Yes.
bounds.
If you are a Muslim and you submit, you just believe. You know what I like about Brother Yusuf? We have Brother Yusuf with us in one of our broadcasts you and I have a few weeks ago, and he said when he was a Muslim, listen to this, he could not understand the Quran. So the conclusion he came up with, Brother Lloyd, it is not that there is anything wrong with the Quran. It is something wrong with him. His brain cannot understand the true, perfect word of Allah in the Quran. It is the stupidity is in him, not in the Quran. Nothing wrong with the Quran. But he could not understand the Quran because it's him. Yusuf was the problem, not Allah, not the Quran, not Muhammad. Can you imagine Muslim read the Quran with that concept?
I don't think you have any other choice, to be honest.
If you want to stay, if you continue to believe and you want to stay in your, I believe that the Quran is the perfect word of Allah, then something is wrong with me.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So in conclusion, Allah said in Quran 12:56, and likewise we establish for Joseph in the land that he may choose from it whatever he wills. We give our mercy to whom we will. We do not waste the wage of the doers of good. And the wage of the hereafter is better to those who believed and were fearers.
Sure.
And this is the reward of Allah to the believers, which is when the king of Egypt had fight Al-Aziz.
Once again, we never have a king in Egypt by the name Al-Aziz.
You know, I was thinking today, people going on about Palestine, which is obviously in the news and all of that, but what language did the Palestinians speak?
Greek.
What was the name of the Palestinian king, the first couple of kings? What writings did they create? What documents did they make? What was their holy book called? You know, these Palestinians were real people, right? From a real country with the real culture.
And they lived there from the days of Abraham until 604 before Christ, when Nebuchadnezzar came and destroyed
the Jews kicked them out in 1947. 1946, the Jews kicked them out or whatever. So these were Palestinians.
Are you talking about the Arab who are not Arab who live in the land now, or you talk about the original Greek?
No, but the Palestinians, the Palestinians, they were a land, a people.
Brother.
They must have had a language.
Palestinians, the Kaftir people, the northern people, the sea people, the people of Kaftir. I mean,
the Philistines. The Philistines died out long ago.
So these not Palestinians. You're talking about mixed Arab blood with Syrian and Jordanian.
Yeah, but they say that the Palestinians were living in Israel from the 1st century already. And so how come the Romans don't write about the Palestinians? How come they don't say they write about the Jews, they write about the revolts of the Jews, they write about the Jews that they conquered, they write about the Jews in the temples, they write about the Jews doing this, and they never write about why did these Romans never write about the Palestinians?
Well, I got a slide to read for you. One of my slides in my presentation, Israel Palestine. I think it's so powerful because it too is a reality. It was a guy by the name Emperor Hadrian who named it Assyria Palestina, not Palestine, but Assyria Palestine, because start in the north of Syria and down also, which by the way covered part of Egypt, the Sinai Desert, and part of the Saudi Arabia, and that was 150 AD after the Bar
Kokhba revolt.
After revolt, yeah, the Bar Kokhba revolt, exactly.
Just retarded history.
Let me show you that piece of land. I need to show you this slide too. I do not know if I can share it with you.
Yeah, you probably can. Just go ahead.
Okay, share. And we're gonna go to here. We're gonna pick up this one and share.
So where are you sitting today, Usama? Because that's not your usual.
Can you see that?
Yes.
You see that?
Here it is. It's on screen.
Yeah, that is how big of the land. If Muslims want to stick with that, that means we're going to lose Lebanon, we're going to lose part of Syria, we're going to lose part of Jordan, and we're going to lose part of Saudi Arabia, and we're going to lose part of Egypt, because that is a Syria Palestina, according to this emperor. I don't think the Egyptian will give up this piece of land for the Palestinians. I don't think the Arab Saudi Arabia will lose this piece of land for the Palestinians. I don't think the Jordanian or the Syrian or the Turkish. I mean, we're taking all this land, brother.
Yeah, it looks a little full there. So why didn't the Turks give it back to the Palestinians when they had it? It's just insane. The Ottomans didn't do anything with it. One has to wonder. Al-Aziz, but that's a good pharaoh's name. I'm sure if we go back in history,
Al-Aziz, my foot.
check on Wikipedia,
It's
we'll find
let me
Emperor
put it this way.
Al-Aziz.
Let me put it this way. If Muslim can produce us any document of any Egyptian historians or any Greek historians or any Roman, somebody that Egypt ever had a pharaoh by the name Al-Aziz, I will convert Islam. I will leave Christianity. I'll be the best darn imams you can ever have. Show me Al-Aziz in the history of Egypt in the past.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find it. We're gonna.
I know there's King Muhammad ibn Abdul Aziz that's in Saudi Arabia, but that was not Egyptian. He was not a pharaoh, okay?
And Zuleika, is that a good Egyptian name, Zuleika?
No, this made up. All this made up.
Yeah. So these are two Egyptians who had bought Joseph as a slave.
And
Right?
the first thing is, we know from the Bible what's the real name of Joseph's wife. And it's a Coptic name, by the way.
Wow. And Zuleika was the woman who tried to seduce Joseph. Where do they get these names? Who knows? Who does it? Let's not confuse ourselves with the facts. So, Joseph's marriage. Another interpretation is that after Pharaoh fired her husband, Al-Aziz, Joseph got his job. Then after he died, the king married Joseph
So
Al-Aziz.
Joseph became just a khassi? I mean, became like a worker for Pharaoh? Didn't we just read a minute in the Bible ago that he was the second man in charge of all Egypt, even the house of Pharaoh? Why you lose a position such as that and to work like a government official for the Pharaoh? See the nonsense?
Yeah, and then Joseph married her, and he found her to be a virgin.
Ooh.
For her husband did not have any desire to be with women.
Maybe that's why she was excited about having Joseph in bed.
Right, then she bore two sons to Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. And Ibn
Wait
Kathir.
a minute. Where did Ibn Kathir come up with this knowledge, man? Are you serious? You're reading that from Ibn Kathir, right? Or you made it up? I think you're lying.
Some guy called Usama who wrote some book about this.
This was in my writing. Did I put that there?
Apparently so. Some guy Usama something or other wrote something about this, and I'm just saying what he said. I'm just reporting. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. So when then Joseph led the king of Egypt to accept Islam.
Oh, the Pharaoh became a Muslim. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar. I'm so excited about my ancestors. And Allah knows best. No, Allah does not know anything. Allah does not know jack about Islam, because if Allah knows that, He should have put it in the Quran.
So they need to tell us about this form of Islam that was practiced back then. Where's the book? Where are the practices? Someone talk to us about this.
Well, see, when the Christians came to Egypt, they burned all these books so they can make Joseph a Jew and make Pharaoh a Pharaoh.
I don't get this. Okay, fine. Why doesn't academia just call BS on this?
No, they will not upset the Muslims. They will not upset the Muslims because they don't want to be in trouble with the Muslims. I mean who would like to have his head off, man?
These are obviously trash claims. So Joseph becomes the king of Egypt. He rules with justice in the land, and the men and women loved him.
Whoa. Who became the king of Egypt?
Joseph.
Oh, okay. That's new information for me, man. I'm learning.
King Joseph. Don't you remember? Third Dynasty?
King Joseph? Yeah, I think I kind of heard that name
before.
Before.
Third Dynasty, episode 3.
But wait a minute. We never have King Joseph in Egypt, so I don't know which Joseph are you talking about. Maybe he have a different name? Do you know what's amazing? Even in the Bible, Pharaoh renamed Joseph to another name.
What did he call him? Like, he called him Jimmy?
No, he gave him an Egyptian name, a Coptic name. Well, we can go to the scripture and read it. No problem, man. We'll get to it, okay?
So he rules with justice in the land, and the men and women love him. And where does Ibn Kathir get all this information? Obviously, Coptic.
Quran, second opinion, chapter 18, verses 24 to 29. I believe that's what these 5 verses. Very important 5 verses. Second opinion in the Quran.
Yeah, this hurts my. I mean, honestly, why
It
are scholars not calling?
Yeah, okay, but Lloyd, Muslims believe the reason Ibn Kathir is a scholar because he knows all this information. Normal Muslims do not know that, but Ibn Kathir know it. That's why he's a scholar. Okay,
This is retarded.
listen, you need to say the Shahada, and after that, everything will be clear like crystal. Trust me, I know this to be a fact.
Okay, right. So, oh no, now I can see why they just called him
Scholar.
Well, because I mean, because Ibn Kathir had a problem reading this name in Genesis 41. Pharaoh changed the name of Joseph to Zaphanath Paneah.
Okay, that's not an Arab name. That's a Coptic name. I know this for a fact because even if you don't know how to pronounce it right, but that is a real Coptic name. Okay, go ahead.
Great. So good thing Coptic names are not popular.
No.
I can see why.
And he married to who?
And he married him to Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera.
Okay. Oh, the priest. So he did not
Lord.
marry Al-Aziz's wife, who was still a virgin. I think now, see, when you read the story, the scholars' interpretation, they make the Quran make sense. Remember when he saw Joseph was her at the door in the Quran, and he found that it was her she wanted Joseph so badly, he never got upset. He never killed her. He never killed Joseph, and he just left them alone in the house. He does not have the desires of men. He does not like women. I don't know. He does not like anything. So maybe she can go ahead and enjoy Joseph. You see? And now she's married to Joseph. 2 boys, Manasseh and Ephraim. Now, why they did not name Manasseh and Ephraim 2 Arabic names like Ali and Hussein? Think about it. Joseph is a Muslim guy. He should name his sons Ali, Mahmoud, Mustafa, Hussein, something, fit with Islam, man. But that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
And by the way, every name in the Bible have a meaning. So Manasseh and Ephraim, we'll name Manasseh and Ephraim for a reason. We're going to get to it, I hope, in a minute here. Go ahead, bro.
Right. So, of course, we can read about... So, this is the account concerning Joseph's marriage, right? As for his sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, one can read about them.
Can you read 70 and 71? What is 70 is?
Manasseh, name means, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house.
That's from the word yansa. Yansa means forget. Okay. How about Ephraim?
For God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction.
Does Muhammad have one name in the Quran with a meaning? Just do me a favor. You can go ask AI, search in online, read all the books written by mankind. Give me one name in the Quran was given because the name means something. Can you find me one name?
We can ask the audience to have a look at that. The Pharaoh took Shahada. It's in Surah
Allah Akbar. He said it in the Arabic language. I remember. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna mudahdam Rasulullah. I remember when he said it. It was hard on his tongue to say because he's a Coptic, he's a Pharaoh. But
no, it's in Surah 117. But I heard him say it once, actually, because he went Klatu, Niktu. I'm pretty sure.
That's exactly, I remember it. Listen, it was Tuesday. No, it was Friday afternoon, and it was raining day. I remember that.
Yeah, no, that was the Klat. That was the Shahada that I think it's Klatu Nikto. Yeah, I think we know what he said, and then
me too. I think I understood exactly what he meant by what he said. Yeah.
If you've seen the movie, you'd know what I'm talking about.
You're a
Oh
bad
man,
boy, Lloyd. You are a
did
bad
they
boy.
no, that's a classic piece of cinema, man.
It is. Okay.
But they really took advantage of a lack of education, says Ave Maria Theotokos. Yeah, how many Muslims don't even read and write Arabic, let alone have any general education?
But don't forget, Joseph spoke and read 70 language.
So he would have understood what I just said.
Do you think in Joseph's time there were 70 language on earth?
I have no idea, but this is like, why
Excuse me,
would he?
but I have to get this quick if you don't mind. If you don't mind.
Sure. So yeah, while we're waiting for Usama, yesterday was a crazy day for me. I had a gas leak, had two gas leaks in the apartment because when everything was installed, it wasn't checked properly by the builders, and I had 4 points in the bathroom piping where the gas was leaking, and then one in the kitchen as well. And it actually got to the point we were aware there was a problem, but yesterday I was at home and I actually started to get sick, felt dizzy. It was pretty bad. And eventually I realized what was happening, opened the windows, the doors, and I went out immediately to get someone to fix it. Eventually, long story short, replaced the gas boiler in the bathroom and replaced all the piping. So, yeah. So yesterday I was planning to do a stream, but I was not feeling so great. After that,
Eh,
it was quite a
yeah, yeah.
tense
Brother
day.
Lloyd, I have a question for you. What is
Sure.
worse, reading the Quran or breathing that gas?
Reading the Quran just is trauma that stays with me. Honestly, yeah, I was lucky. I mean, but gee whiz, but seriously, it was not a. Do not strike a match. No, I did not. But I might strike a pose. Yeah. So if Pharaoh, so let's see. Seven says if Pharaoh was Muslim, shouldn't all of ancient Egypt have been Muslim? And there's nothing
At
about such
least,
things and no
at least you
evidence.
should have some. I mean, but we don't have any. But see, Muslim here actually means submit to Allah,
Yeah,
believe in
but
Allah.
then Buddha was a Muslim too. He submitted to his God.
No, but you have to submit to the true God and His Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, but they always say Jesus is because he submitted to God. He submitted to his God. I mean, they always try to broaden that definition, and they know exactly what they're doing. We know exactly what they mean, but they always try to weasel the way out. This is just the pipes were doing jihad on me exactly. So yeah, it was Iran. It was Iran. I'm telling you, I had Iran in my pipes. So
Ah, God is good. I'm glad you're okay, brother. I'm really glad you're okay.
yeah, it was a fun day. My throat's a little bit, but anyway. So when Joseph died at the age of 110, he had never been a king.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to make him a king? You see, Allah treated Joseph better than God did, because God just made him like second banana,
Second man in
whereas
charge.
Allah made him the big cheese.
It's a little bit different here. And by the way, in the Bible, it was very clear. Pharaoh told Joseph, "You are second after me, and without me, you could do nothing." I mean, he was very Pharaoh emphasized, "I am in charge of the land, and you're just a second man."
Right. So I mean, this is not recorded in history, is it?
Yeah. No, no, of course not. I mean, in the Egyptian history, yes, actually, there was some discovery about Joseph in Egypt. There
Yeah.
was a map 60 by 70
Yeah, but
centimeters.
A Muslim pharaoh, you'd think would make the news, right?
Oh, if he was a Muslim, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yes.
So the Bible stated that there was a new king, and knew neither Joseph nor his people. He took over the kingdom of Egypt. If Joseph had become king, one of his sons would have become the heir, which is a good point.
Sure. Then you
So
have
many heirs are found.
Manasseh is a king and Ephraim and their kids. But it's just the lies of Ibn Kathir is 100% true lies. Why? First of all, it was not in the Quran. Second of all, there's no anything to support it afterwards. When you read the Bible, lots of information. When we talk about the general writing of Ibn Kathir, he will make up stuff, and he will not even have anything to back it up. But you go to the Bible, you find, wait a minute, that's not what the Bible said. And a little bit later, we know for sure that's not what the Bible said. So I'll give you a good example. We already talked about that. In the Bible, Joseph was received 2 dreams, and he shared the dream with his brothers and his father. And the Bible said, and that's why they hate him more. Now, in the Quran, he did not tell the dream to one dream to his brothers, and his father told, don't tell to your brother. But you go a little bit later in the Bible, when they saw Joseph coming from the land of Dothan as he was searching for his brothers, he said, hey, here he is, the dreamer. Let's see how his dream will help him. So you see, there is internal evidence in the Bible somewhere else that what we read earlier in the passage of the Bible is true. Now, and if you go to the Quran, they always make up stuff. Scholars of Islam, not just Ibn Kathir, Al-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, Al-Jalalain, everybody, Damakhshari, everybody. They make up stuff, and you could not find anywhere else later supported, but the opposite. The more you dig in, you find something, go in the opposite.
You know what struck me was when you read the different scholarly accounts, the Muslim scholars' accounts of the ascension of Jesus at the time. So, at least the Islamic version of it. So basically, they're in Jerusalem, and then these Jews want to kill Jesus, and then Jesus is rescued by Allah. He's taken up into heaven, and his likeness is put on a young boy or whatever. Now that story, what I found, I think 7 or 8 different versions of that story that were in existence at the time. And what I learned from the scholarship was that basically a version was picked and became canonical.
Yeah.
There was no particular way to choose between any of them. They just selected this one.
They don't know, and the evidence it is in the writing. اختلف العلماء, اختلف المفسرون, والله أعلم. Scholars disagree, interpreters disagree, and Allah knows best. Well, I'm sorry, this is dumb.
So which version? There's 8, I think something like 8 versions I found, and they just picked one at random and said, okay, it's going to be this one that becomes canonical. And you're but the rest were just as likely to be the correct story because, there was there's no way they could justify choosing this one over that one over this one.
Sure.
And it's like, how?
And by the way, Lloyd, they're not a close interpretation, which if we're talking about the same person and you take it from different angle, this is what happened, or maybe that's what happened. No, that's happened. But we're talking about too many different stories. Is it a little boy? Is it Judas Iscariot? It is Simon the Qarawani, the man who carries the cross? Is it, who did it? Good luck.
Yeah, no, it's just insanity, honestly. So, the first trip of Joseph's brothers to Egypt.
Notice we're going to read 3 trips when the Bible only said 2. But that's okay.
Okay,
one more, it's not going to hurt anything.
The Quran's just trying to make it more interesting, more accessible.
Brother, nothing interesting about the Quran. Not Joseph, not Moses, not Noah, not Muhammad. Nothing.
So why are we talking about this? So Quran 12:58 to 62. I'm going to try and do this like a, like that guy that does this whole movie voice.
And I want you to be serious now. Don't
the movie voice. The guy that does the trailer voice. We discover the first visit of Joseph's brothers to Egypt. Yeah. And Joseph's brothers came, so they entered to him. Only one man can solve it.
Just think about it. They entered to him. Does this make any sense? Egypt have 2 houses, the house of Pharaoh and the house of Joseph, and that's it. Hey, they go to Egypt.
But when you read it, it's like something that's trying to sound like Shakespeare, but it's really badly done. It's trying to sound Shakespearean, but it's just terrible.
You need to read the Arabic now. You make it twice as worse. But go ahead.
So he knew them, and they were unaware of him. And when he had provided them with their provision, he said, bring me a brother of you from your father.
Stop it. Do you think it's a logical story here?
Bring me a brother of you from your father. Don't you say that every day?
No, not just a sentence. Not just a sentence. You talk to people, Hey, how are you doing? Doing good. Where you guys from? Oh, what's your family? How many children? Oh, you got another brother. Oh, well, bring him with you next time. You see the conversation here?
Yeah, I
No,
know. And
you didn't
I
say
mean,
hello. You didn't say salam alaikum. You didn't say anything. Bring me a brothers of yours from your father.
and also, he provided them with their provision. He shopped them with their shopping. He vegetabled them with their vegetables. He fruited them with their fruit. I mean, okay,
Amen.
fine. That's
Amen. Yes.
so. If you do not bring him to me, so no measure will there be for you from me, and nor will you come near me.
This is a very dry cut verse, man. It's like we're missing a good couple paragraph between it. There must be something else has been said. And Allah forgot to mention to Jibreel, to Gibrish, and Gibrish forgot to Muhammad. Or Muhammad received it, but he lost it.
Yeah. So they said, we will persuade his father of him,
Okay.
and we will surely do that.
When he was saying, bring me a brother of you from your father. How can you have a brother not from your father?
Well, it's a little
Whoa,
obvious.
whoa, whoa. You mean bring me a brother of you from your mother whom she slept with somebody else? But see, the problem is in the Quran, you will never figure out that Joseph have a different mother than the rest of the other three mothers of his brothers. There is no four wives, four ladies, or Grandpa Jacob was having good time with to produce one girl and 12 boys. That does not happen in the Quran. So when Muhammad say, bring me of you, bring me a brother of you from your father, it does not make any sense. It's a
But
stupid
he just
thing.
does this randomly, just because, hey, dudes, thanks for buying stuff here. Just bring me a brother. Like, that's kind of arbitrary. How do we get there from here? How do we?
But the logical, if he is their brother, he have to be from their father.
Well, you do know it's possible to have a brother from another mother.
But not in the Quran, because the Quran did not say anything about other mothers.
Right. So, I keep feeling like I'm reading The Cat in the Hat.
What is the cat in the
Honestly,
hat?
honestly, hold on, hang on. Cat in the. But I honestly keep
Cat
feeling
in the
like
hat.
this is what I am reading.
Cat, cat in the hat is cat. Cat. Oh, that is a cat in the hat.
Yeah, this is The Cat in the Hat here.
Yeah, read something for me.
I keep feeling like we looked and we saw him step on the mat. We looked and we saw him, the cat in the hat. And he said to us, why do you sit there like that? I know it is wet and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny.
Are you reading that? What chapter of the Quran? That sounds like the Quran, man.
That does. That's the
Is
problem. I
that's not
constantly
the
feel
Quran?
no,
Oh,
but I
yeah, man.
constantly feel like this is what I'm reading when I
Somebody,
read.
this is plagiarism. Somebody took that from the Quran and add a cat to it and put a window and draw a cartoon. We can sue you, this company. Who did this? I
No,
need
but,
the name of these people.
but for the audience, doesn't it? I constantly feel like I'm reading Dr. Seuss when I'm reading the Quran.
Oh,
This is
that is
exactly how it
Dr.
comes across
Seuss.
to me.
It's an old doctor, man. The kids used to like his stories years ago, not anymore.
This is an old book. This is probably older than the Quran. I mean, the Quran's only been around since
Hey,
1924.
listen. Thank God this was written after the Quran was finished. Otherwise, Muhammad would have mentioned some of the stuff in his Quran.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to read The Cat in the Hat after this just to detox my brain because I remember this fondly from my
But
childhood.
brother, I don't like you to mock the word of Allah. We Muslim do not like people to be skeptic like you and mocking the word of Allah. So you have to read. Can you wash your hand now before you read the Quran?
Um, no.
No. Okay. Then go ahead and read. That's okay.
You know what's crazy? The UK, where this guy burned the Quran and he was recently fined in court for doing so. When he
Yeah.
burned the Quran in front of the Turkish embassy, two men stopped. One guy stopped on a bike and attacked him, kicked him. Another guy came out with a knife from the embassy, tried to kill him. Neither of those men has been charged in the UK. They tried to assault and murder this man. They weren't touched. But the guy who burned the Quran, his own Quran.
You know why? Because these two guys never read the Quran. Neither the British read the Quran.
But,
Have these two guys read the Quran, they will have no problem for him to burn the Quran. As a matter of fact, imagine if he knows the history of the Quran. When Usman ibn Affan,
if you're white and you put out a tweet, they'll send you to jail for 3 years.
I know this.
But then you literally are filmed trying to stab and slash someone to death with a knife, and the police don't even care.
That was nothing. But have these two Muslims knows the true history of Usman ibn Affan burning the original 7 Qurans to make up his own Quran? They should see nothing wrong about any idiot today burn any Quran. You can how much money do you have? You can buy 10,000 copies of the Quran and burn them. They're still making profit out of it. The Quran costs $1 to print, and he sell it for 20 or 30 or 40. That's a good profit. They're making good money. But neither the Muslims who are so mad they want to kill the guy read the Quran, nor the stupid government of England read the Quran. If the government of England read the Quran, they will make it a law. Anybody found a Quran, please burn it. Can you imagine that was me? They will reward people, not put them in jail, of burning the Quran, the book which will destroy the entire country.
Yeah. I know. This is just...
People are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, guys, once we're done with this, I think
you read another cat.
I think
that's the last cat I'm going to let you read.
Later.
The word of Allah, brother.
These things will not bite you. They want to have fun. Then out of the box came thing 2 and thing 1. This is so much better than the Quran. Sorry.
You're a bad boy today, Lloyd. Lloyd, what happened to you? Did you breathe so much of this gas the last few days? You're losing up there.
Oh man, yeah, Muslims have infiltrated places of power, and it's evident. I think he's right. So okay, let's go on. So in Quran 12, we discover the first visit of Joseph's brothers, right?
Yeah.
And so they say, we will persuade his father of him, and we will surely do that. That is such bad grammar. It hurts me to read that. And he said to his young men, put their merchandise into their bags. Perhaps they may know it when they return to their family. Perhaps they will come back.
Oh, no. Let's stop it for a minute. Did Joseph have a clue that we are on the first year of famine of 7 years? Perhaps. Or did Allah does not know? Who's perhaps here? Allah, the God of perhaps? Or Joseph, the prophet of perhaps? I mean, how can Joseph be a prophet who told Pharaoh 7 years of famine, and he knows this is the first year? Perhaps. Are you kidding me, Lloyd? What do you mean, perhaps?
I have no idea how to make sense of this. I'm just reading it.
And what they're gonna put in their bags? Their merchandise?
You know, if this was written to rhyme like the cat in the hat, this would be so much better.
Yes, it is in the Arabic language. You don't know that? Okay. I'm going to open right now the Quran.
Oh, you said, yes, you remember. You told me once before. It's written very fluent. Flows nicely like poetry.
Okay, let's go to Quran chapter 12. What verse are we in right now?
12:58.
Let's go to 58, and I'm going to read it for you in the Arabic language. It says, all right. Listen. وجاء إخوة يوسف فدخلوا عليه فعرفهم وهم له منكرون ولما جهزهم بجهازهم قال أتني بأخ لكم من أبيكم ألا تروني إني أوفي الكيل وأنا خير المنزلين فإن لم تأتوا به فلا كيل لكم عندي ولا تقربوني come near me. Okay. قالوا سنراود عنه أباه وإن لفاعلون وقال لفتيانه اجعلوا بضاعتهم في رحالهم لعلهم يعرفونها إذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم لعلهم يرجعون. You see the beauty of the poetry?
It sounds like it could be awesome. The story itself is so disjointed, but it rhymes. It sounds like a really nice
Brother, the reason why Muslims believe you cannot translate the Quran to any other language, it's very simple, because you lose the rhyme, and without the rhyme, the Quran is a dumb book. Lots of people in the world, those who knows Arabic and those who do not know jack about Arabic, love to hear the Quran because of the rhyme. Do you understand that? That's the end of the story. Remove the rhyme from the Arabic Quran, you don't have Quran.
Mm-hmm. Radio. She says the best buddies. I understand all of it. Oh boy. Yeah. Mashallah. Aglux tells us, Mashallah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and we have Dr. Kufar Phobia in the house. Shall we bring him up for a few minutes? Shall we invite?
Sure. I'd love to say hello to him.
Dr. Kufar, it's been a while. There's the link in the chat. Yep, so let's continue.
For all those who have hat, come and bring the fat.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, the cat in the hat style, just at least it's funny. So this long account with its details as written in the Bible is condensed in just 5 verses. How can Muslims understand the big gap in the Quran's verses without knowing the Bible? In verse 58, the brothers came to Egypt. In verse 59, he gave them their provisions. He provided them their provisions. And he immediately asked them to bring a brother to him from their father. Yeah. So here's your goodies. Bring me a boy. Nudge, nudge. Right. In verse 60, he threatened them that if he did not bring their brother, then they could not come near him. Then the brothers told Joseph, why is the king handing out goodie bags to merchants? I mean, he's almost the king. I mean, he's like very senior.
You know, Lloyd, when you read the rest of the Scar's interpretation, you find that he himself used to measure with his own cup. The cup he drank with, he used to measure for all the people who come to buy the wheat and the corn. Imagine the king of Egypt used his own cup, which means out of silver and he, or gold, whatever Muhammad said in the Bible, is a silver cup. And he measured 1, 2. What kind of stupid king is
So
it?
That's a Yeti. That's a Yeti 20 ounce you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the silver one. I've got the plain silver. Yep, that's the Yeti 20 ounce.
The blue and silver one, man. Yeah, you see this?
651 mils. Yeah, I've got one as well. So,
ooh, sweet cup.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, we hope you feel better soon, Dr. K. He's not well, but interesting. Ave Maria Theotokos says music bypasses the frontal lobe and goes straight to the limbic system. They know what they are doing.
Amen.
So it's true. I personally would add it goes from the music system to the limbic system. but that's science. I'm just trying to add some science in there,
Yep.
So yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's what music does. It's hypnotic. I can understand it would carry. It sounds good. It sounds kind of cool, So he threatens them. They bring me a boy, or we're going to have troubles, my peeps. So they said, yeah, they'd persuade their father to let them bring his son with them. So according to Ibn Kathir, stated this took place when Joseph was in control of the Egyptians' homes, religion, and worldly affairs. So Joseph's brothers came to me, knew them, but they did not know him, for it never entered their thoughts that he would hold such a high position. Then in verse 60, Joseph said, ask that their money be put in their sacks, so that perhaps they would come back. That rhymes.
In English.
Put the money in the sack, then maybe they'll come back.
As a matter of fact, my mother said, when love in the house is packed. I left my back door cracked. Okay, go ahead. That's a song in America. I did not make this up, man. This is somebody else. His name is Toby Mac. He liked to make songs like that.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have to. So we have to ask some questions. For those of us who are Jewish or Christians and familiar with the accounts from the Bible, we can always insert the missing pieces of the puzzle of Joseph's story. But how can Muslims understand the story without the information from the Bible? That's a fair question. When Joseph said, bring me a brother of you from your father, this was a strange request. Why did Joseph say for them to bring me a brother of you from your father? How can a person have a brother who's not from their own mother? Do they have another brother from a different mother? That rhymes again. You see, you're a poet.
But that's
and you
my
don't even
writing
know.
now. Hey. Give me credit for that. Not Ibn Kathir. That's me.
Did the father have an affair with another woman? These are questions which cannot be answered without returning to the Genesis account. So, without Genesis, as we've shown, how can a Muslim explain such a strange request? Why did he not say, "Bring me your little brother"? What led Joseph in the conversation to ask his brothers to bring their brother? One must wonder how Joseph came up with such a request for them to bring a brother without any introductory questions. Yeah, there's no, it's like, yeah, how did you get from A to B?
Actually, it's from A to Z. You're missing the list. The rest of
Yeah, and
the
you're missing the rest of the letters, yeah. Then Joseph threatens them and insists they must bring their brother. I mean, once they bugger off back home, they have no reason to come back. They can say, yeah, sure, whatever you want, and then never come back. Why would they need to come back?
Especially as they did not know this famine is going to go longer. They think just one time, go get some food and it's over with.
Yeah, there is no context. There is zero context. So, in verse 62, Joseph requested that their merchandise be put in their bags, and he said, perhaps they will come back. Strange statement, because Joseph knew they would come back, since this was the first of 7 years of famine. The God of perhaps, as you said, by giving the merchandise back, they would come back for sure. In Ibn Kathir's interpretation, he stated that the reason that Joseph put their merchandise back in their bags, were they coming to sell stuff or buy stuff?
Buy stuff. But see, what's happening is Ibn Kathir thought they were so poor. And that's why they came to Egypt and they begged Joseph, especially second time, was very poor merchandise, like old robes, old skin, stuff like that. The stuff does not have any value. When in reality, we know that they have lots of money. They were rich. I mean, Joseph family were rich family. They owned slaves. They were rich. No kidding. Don't forget now that Jacob inherited everything from his father Isaac. Isaac inherited everything from his father Abraham. And Abraham was rich to start with. You know, biblically, we can see the reality of how big that family is. If you take it from the Quran, you don't know anything about anything. So what merchandise? They did not come with merchandise. They came with silver. And the second time, as we're going to see a little bit later, they came up with that silver and more silver.
Right. So, I mean, but yeah, so the king in his cup weighing the wheat. I mean, yeah, I can see the king was bored, wanted something to do, decided to, yeah, I mean, this all makes good sense. So, so anyway, this is an excuse for them to come back to Egypt so they could return the merchandise. So maybe they would not have enough money, blah, blah, okay. This is a rich family, as you said. So the problem was not money or riches, but the lack of food. Ibn Kathir stated the Muslim scholars disagreed on what merchandise. The Muslim scholars disagreed on
that's the beauty.
Everything.
Muhammad, Allah said merchandise. Scholars do not know what merchandise, so they give you too many different opinions on what was the merchandise. When in reality, it was silver.
Okay, I mean, maybe it was Bitcoin. You never know. We'll just wait for the next tafsir. So, Muhammad forgot to mention the famine years in Egypt and all over the face of the earth, the account of which is in Genesis 41. When Egypt was suffering during the famine, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Pharaoh told them to do whatever Joseph said to do, and he sent the people to him. Not only was there famine in Egypt, but over the face of the earth. Joseph opened up the storehouses and sold the wheat. As the famine became more severe, all the countries came to Egypt to buy grain. So here's some pieces of information omitted by Momo. He forgot to mention the number of Joseph's brothers who came to Egypt, but 10, because Jacob refused to send the youngest, Benjamin. In Genesis 42, when Jacob saw there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, "Why do you look at one another?" And he said, "Indeed, I've heard there is grain in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die." So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin, for he said, lest some calamity befall him. And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Then Momo forgets to mention the rest of the story. They show that Joseph recognized his brothers. They did not know him, and he spoke roughly with them by accusing them of being spies. He interrogated them, and they told him that they were not spies, but 12 brothers from one man from the land of Canaan. They told Joseph that a young brother who had stayed with his father and another brother who had been lost. It is written in Genesis 42, and they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's sons, we are honest men, your servants are not spies." But he said to them, "No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said, "Your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan, and in fact the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more."
But you see, from the biblical account, the story makes sense, Lloyd. You read the Quran, you don't know what you're drinking, what you're smoking. Maybe too much of this gas you've been smelling the last few days, and that's why you couldn't figure out what's happening. You see?
Yeah, no. So
we encourage Muslim believers, do not smoke that gas, do not smell that gas, and start reading the Quran once again, and you figure out it's an empty book. How about that? Good advice?
It is painful to read this thing. So continuing with his interrogation, he insisted they were spies. He told them to stay until the youngest brother came, since he said that they must prove to him they were not spies. He imprisoned them for 3 days. Muhammad forgot to mention that on the third day, Joseph released them except for one, so they could go home with the food. They then would bring the youngest brother back in order to prove they were not spies, that they might live. Muhammad forgot to record the conversations they had with one another and how they confessed to one another their guilt. But then it's like it assumes that the Bible is there and people know the Bible story. It's almost like it assumes. I mean, it just kind of like a lot of these things kind of assume.
Are you trying to help Muhammad?
No, but it assumes the context is known. You can see in many of these stories, it's like the Quran assumes you know the context. It's like
you cannot assume it when you're teaching the Muslim people all over the world the Bible is corrupted. You cannot.
Yeah, but at the time that this Quran is written, it's like it assumes it's building on a known narrative. It's crazy, but now it's just like disjointed. So the conversations they had with one another, not recorded. They confessed to one another the guilt over the brother Joseph, and when he, distressed at their lack of mercy towards him, begged them not to harm him or sell him as a slave. Reuben spoke to them about the young brother, and now that his blood was required from them. In Genesis 42 again, you can read the original story, Genesis 37. But Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and he said, "Let us not kill him." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood, cast him into this pit, which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, that he might deliver him out of their hands and bring him back to his father." Yeah, we covered that before. So Momo forgot the language which Joseph spoke with his brothers in the Quran. Joseph spoke directly to his brothers without an interpreter. That's a fair point. The Bible says he was speaking to them through an interpreter. For I had heard them confessing their guilt about their little brother Joseph, and he saw their distress. They did not know that he understood what they were saying. But they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. That's Genesis 42:23.
You know how powerful is this detail here?
Yeah, that's a very important detail, yeah.
It's just Joseph talking to them, and they talk to Joseph. I mean, for heaven's sake, imagine with me, you're talking to your own brother just 20 years or 15 years or whatever, I can figure the number now, 15 years after you left him. You don't think if you're speaking to your brother in your own tongue, in your own language, which is the Hebrew, in the land of Egypt, which is the Coptic land, you don't think you figure out that's your brother? Of course you will figure, but Joseph shaving his head, shaving his body, wearing the Egyptian costume, makeup in his face, and he's speaking a Coptic, and the guy interpreted to him to the Hebrew. They say something to him in the Hebrew, and the guy interpreted him to the Coptic. Of course, you will never think for a second. And he's talking rough. "Oh, you are a spy. You come to do in the Coptic language," and the guy translates to them. I mean, of course, you're not going to figure out that's your brother. But imagine speaking to your own brother 15 years, 20 years later, in your own language, in your own dialect. You don't think you can figure him out. But in the Quran, he was a little boy when he lived. In the Bible, he was 17 years old when he was sold to slavery. You see, so much stuff makes no sense in the Quran. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Right. Yep. No, Muhammad forgot to mention the broken heart of Joseph, how he turned away, and how he cried after hearing their struggle and seeing their distress. Then he took Simeon and bound him before their eyes. Instead of holding Simeon in Egypt, Muhammad erred by saying that Joseph allowed all of his brothers to go back home together. Exactly. They could all just bug it off, and they can send someone else next time.
Yeah.
They don't have to come back and bring the little brothers.
You notice how many times you notice, Lloyd, how many times he said Muhammad forgot, Muhammad forgot, Muhammad forgot. Muhammad forgot to tell the story of Joseph in the Quran. That's exactly what he forgot.
Yeah, no, for sure. Although Muslim scholars disagree on what kind of merchandise Joseph's brothers used to buy grain, Ibn Kathir stated that, according to the Bible, it was money made out of paper, euro notes, euros, for sure.
Made out of paper.
Hold on,
Which,
hang on.
yeah,
I've got one of those notes here.
yeah. How much is that? Show me, man. Show me a bit. Wow. You're rich, brother.
Actually,
You
hold on. I'm
was,
going to turn this around the right way because
yeah,
everyone always
I
complains that.
cannot say, but it's 50 million. That's a lots of money.
Hold on, I'm just going to flip this around quickly. There
Please
we
flip it
go.
around so I can enjoy look at it in your hand. Now
Okay,
I see it.
hang on. Here we go.
50 million. You're rich, man.
This is my retirement plan.
Can you be my friend? Maybe I don't need a million. Just send me like,
This is one of the original guys. Just so you know, this is one of the original banknotes that Joseph's brothers used.
okay, do me a favor since you got off the book. Can you tell me when the Chinese invented the first money paper?
When did the Chinese invent the first money? Didn't we go through this once before?
I
Just so you
know,
guys
do
know,
it
when I was
again
in
and again.
Mongolia,
I cannot remember. I'm getting old. My brain is not
wait, is
thinking.
this Mongolian? Oh, this is Russian. Someone gave me like this rubles once. I don't
What
know,
is
so I
it?
did something and he gave me
100?
these rubles.
What are you gonna buy with this? A
And this is like
bicycle?
this is worth nothing. This is
Of
like
course not.
it's like
Man,
this is nothing. It's like I'm probably gonna stick this on the wall or something. And I
I
was in
like the 50
Mongolia. This is
million.
worth this
Ooh, what is
Mongolian
that?
Mongolia.
100?
Yeah, it's I
Man,
don't know how much it's worth. It's not a whole lot. It's like Mongolian money. It's pretty cool.
what is this? Zero money? Zero?
I
What?
know
The 100?
someone can look it up. Whatever this Mongolian money is worth, it's kind of cool.
Brother, I want to know when the first money was made out of paper.
Yeah. So hoping crisis, I could have used that $50 million in Monopoly and buy hotels.
Yeah, if you buy a hotel, can you let me come stay for free when I come in your area? One night,
Um,
2 nights for free.
no, that 50 million is my retirement plan, man. I'm planning to, you know, so I've got my retirement sorted out.
Man,
You know,
you're
and then
so
I'm gonna
selfish. You don't share with your
take
brother.
my
That's not
YouTube
your brother.
millions, invest it into the same fund, and then I'm good.
You're gonna invest all 50 million in one place. You should put it in different baskets.
I'm a sophisticated African. Instead of putting the money in a basket, I'm actually going to put it like in the bank or in an investment. That's the difference between Northern Africans and Southern Africans
You
like me.
you understand
We don't
my
put
thought
money in
like
baskets.
wait a minute. You understand my talk like Muslim understand the Quran. This is so much influence on your head, man. Oh my world! I need to find somebody else to read my book. We don't want you to teach me. I'm gonna lose you for good. You
I'm
don't
teaching I
put the
got to put the money in a
50 million in
basket.
the
I mean, hold
basket.
on. That basket already has my eggs. Okay, I've already got all the
Oh,
eggs in the
you don't
basket.
put all your eggs in one.
I can't mix the money with the eggs. Imagine one of the eggs breaks and I get it all over my beautiful banknote, my big beautiful banknote.
50 million eggs. You can put 50 million eggs in one basket. How big is that basket? It must be huge basket.
You know, you know.
Okay. If you don't want to look at the first time the Chinese made paper money, let's move back to the Quran, man.
Let's go back. Let's go back.
By the way, it was hundreds of years after Joseph was gone, but that's okay.
Alexa, when did the Chinese invent the first paper money?
Here is an answer from an Alexa Answers contributor that I translated. The first paper money was printed in China in the 7th century. They were paper banknotes, called jiao. Paper money was introduced to Europe in the 13th century and to the United States in
That's
the
good. That's good. That's good. 7th century. 7th century. When did Joseph came to existence? Roughly around 1700 before Christ. So 17 plus 7, 2400 years. Somehow Ibn Kathir was a small, tiny error of 2400 years, but it's like a nothing. It's like 2400 years. No big deal.
Because 1,000 years is a day for Allah.
That'll be 2 days. No big deal. Go ahead. Move on to my book. Read.
That's a 2-day difference. So, yeah. So, but I hopefully the audience is learning from this. They
Wait a
hopefully they're
minute.
learning.
Was this paper money belong to which bank? I mean, to have a paper money, the Bank of Canaan or the Bank of
That's
Egypt?
I don't have the answer for you right now, but I will circle back to you on that.
Yeah, please circle. Yeah, take your time. Sometime the next 100 years.
So let's see. Then he took Simeon and bound him before their eyes, right? And he sent them back home. So he kept a hostage. Muslim scholars disagree on the merchandise. Joseph's brothers used to buy grain, saying according to the Bible, it was money made out of paper or something that looked like paper. Maybe it was, who knows? It could have been stocks, bonds, bearer bonds, government certificates. I have no government bearer bonds. I don't know. So if Ibn Kathir had read the Bible carefully, would have discovered it is not paper but silver. The Bible teaches it was silver because Joseph commanded that this silver be put into their sacks. One of the brothers opened his bag. He found the silver in the mouth of the sack. Also, Muhammad neglected to mention how fearful they were when they found their silver had been returned to them. So Joseph instructs that their sacks be filled with grain, their money be returned to their sacks, and then provisions be given them for the trip. After they had departed for home, one of the brothers opened the sacks to feed his donkey and saw his money. He told his brothers the money had been restored and it was in the sack. When brothers became afraid, and they said to one another, "What is this that God has done to us?" That's a good question. So the return of the sons of Israel back home. Quran 12:63. So when they returned to their father, they said, "Oh Father, we have been denied our measure. Send our brother with us, and we
Let's
will
stop
have
it for a minute. Let's stop a minute. What do you mean
That's
deny our
retarded.
measure when they already have the food and the merchandise together in their packs or in stacks? When
You know,
you read the word "we denied our measure" means what? In the future or past?
it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
You
What
mean they went
measure were
all
they
the way
in?
to Egypt to get food and they came back with empty bags?
No, they came back with their stuff and their own stuff. So, and you can do it too, just on the internet. He says it's the Bank of Egypt.
That is the anchor of Egypt.
He wins the internet today.
Hey,
So,
I'd like to check. Maybe my ancestors left some money in the bank of Egypt for me. Maybe I'm rich. I don't even know it. See, I was searching the wrong bank.
yeah, exactly. So, this is like, why would they say that? So, anyway, a simple reading of this verse will show that the brothers of Joseph lied to their father Jacob by stating they were denied any measure of food from their first trip. Muslim scholars fabricated an interpretation of this verse by stating that they meant the brothers would not receive any measure of food the following year if Jacob did not send.
But that's not
Sorry, I
what
just
Allah
found it
said in
there. I
the
was like,
Quran, Lloyd. You cannot tell me Allah meant the opposite of what is written.
I was about to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Like, what the heck is going on here?
They're helping Allah. They're really, the scholars of Islam are helping Allah right and left. MashaAllah.
And in verse 65, when they opened their bags, they found their merchandise had been returned. But it's not merchandise, it's their money.
Yeah, but listen what they said, that to prove we're right and Allah's wrong and his scholars wrong. They said what? Oh, our Father.
Fathers,
Look,
we did not desire that our merchandise would be returned. We will bring food to our families and we'll keep our brother and we'll increase a measure.
so which means that look, Dad, we got the money back. Here it is. We didn't even know that they're going to give us the money back. I mean, will it make sense? Will it make sense to the father that the reason the Egyptian did not give them food because they do not have their brother? I mean, what does have to do with anything?
Yeah, so, and what's this fabrication by Qurtubi and Tabari? The statement, the sons of Jacob really told their father all that had taken place in Egypt, how they had been treated, and how Simeon had been taken as a ransom. So the ruler. Okay, so these guys are talking about Genesis, but
that's not what the Quran said. I did not see in the Quran the name Simon. Simon. I didn't see in the Quran Simon. I didn't see in the Quran that Joseph kept any of his brothers at all. Did you read it?
I read it, and he sent them all back.
That's it. So go and don't come back without your brother, or that's it.
Yeah, so the Bible had such a great influence on Muslim scholars that they quote the account from the Bible not only to interpret the Quran, because it doesn't exist in the Quran, but even when it does, when it teaches something completely different from the Quran. Now, that makes no sense at all. How did scholars Qurtubi and Tabari know about Simeon and that he was taken as a ransom? Because the Quran does not mention that. I recall not reading that at all. It is interesting that they use the name of Simeon, even though it's never mentioned in the Quran.
Period.
This is just like, what? Yeah. So on the other hand, the account in the Bible is very clear about what took place between Jacob and his sons. Jacob's sons told him what had taken place in Egypt, and how the master of the land had spoken to them with harshness and thought they were spies, even though they assured this ruler they were not spies, but 12 sons of one man. They described to Jacob how the master had given them some grain and told them to bring their youngest brother back with him, so that they would know they were not spies. Spies
By the way,
like us.
Brother Lloyd, if you don't mind, normally spies are sent from one country to another country. They're not from one family to one country. So the reason they said we are 12 sons of one father, it is a great evidence. They're not spies. They're not 10 people from 10 different tribes to spy on the land, to go back and attack the land and do that. Nobody will think for a minute that a spy is one family, but normally spies, like when Moses sent the spies to spy on the land of Canaan, he sent 12 sons from 12 tribes. That's exactly what happened. Including Joshua and Caleb. So we know the name of the tribe and the name of the spy. That makes sense. Like 12 big groups, you're going to have 12 men represent the 12 big groups to go spy on land so they can go back and attack it. You don't send just one family. What if that one family got killed? They would discover the spy. That's the end of it. So the father of that family is lost every one of his children in one day. That's terrible. So that is a difference between spies and one family is going to search for food. Go ahead, bro.
You know what? For some reason, this just makes me think of. It just makes me think of this scene.
What is that?
The movie Spies Like Us
Uh-huh.
with Chevy Chase.
I never saw this one before.
You've never seen Spies Like Us? And
Man,
Dan
I
Aykroyd?
don't watch too many movies. I like the cartoon you let me watch the other day about me.
Spies Like Us. You've never seen this?
Brother, I did not. There's so many movies I have no clue what they are.
This
Is
is
this a
really,
good movie?
Spies Like Us. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's got camels in it.
Camels, okay, I'll watch it. Okay. If it have camels, I have to watch it. It's like relatives. They're like cousin to me.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
it's not like a comedy. Is it a comedy, a funny one?
it's a comedy. It's Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase,
See?
Spies Like Us. But okay, enough of that now. Let's go back to where we were. Let's get back to being serious for a second.
You cannot be serious in the Quran, man. What are you serious about?
Dottie says you have to watch it.
Yeah, I will. Mercy, I will watch it. Lord's willing, I will.
So let me see. So the account in the Bible is clear about what took place between Jacob and his sons. Jacob's sons told him what had taken place in Egypt, how they'd been spoken to, and so on. And then they described to Jacob how the master had given them grain, told them to bring the youngest brother back so he would know they were not spies. They told Jacob they found the silver in their sacks. Then their father were afraid when they saw the money, which had been returned to them. The Bible states that Jacob was very saddened as he said that Joseph is missed and Simeon is taken away. He refused to allow them to take Benjamin with them. Reuben tried to persuade his father to let Benjamin go with him to Egypt by saying that if he did not bring Benjamin back with him, Jacob could kill Reuben's own son. However, Jacob refused to send Benjamin with them because he was afraid something would happen, which would bring Jacob to the grave in sorrow.
Sure.
This is not what took place in the Quran version. Jacob simply asked a question about the sending of his son to Egypt, and he said, "Will I entrust you with him, except as I entrusted you before with his brother?" So Allah is the best keeper, and he's the most merciful of the merciful. Like, Cat in the Hat is back.
Yeah, it's back. But the problem is, what does have to do is this is a contradiction in one verse. I don't trust you because in the past you hurt his brother. But then Allah is the best keeper. And he's the most merciful of the merciful. If Allah is the best keeper, why you worry about your children to take care of your son or not? And why Allah is the most the best keeper did not take care of your first son Joseph when he started as a start with anyway?
Because Allah was not the best keeper that time. And
Well, yeah, he was
Darcy
busy.
says, surely you can't be serious. To which I say, I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Is that your dog?
You hearing a dog bark? No, no, that's not from the neighbors.
Oh, neighbors. Okay.
So, yeah, okay. For those who know, you know that was another reference. That was Frank Drebin. Anyway, Muhammad said that in the Quran that Jacob said that he would not send his son with them to Egypt until they brought him a solemn oath from Allah.
I do not know how they did that. I mean,
Bring me an
literally,
oath from Allah.
they go to Allah and ask Allah to give an oath to them so they can take the oath to their father. I mean, what is that? Solemn oath of Allah?
So this statement, yeah, that's a little bit of an odd one. A little bit of an odd
MashaAllah,
one.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Allahu
So
Akbar.
Muslim scholars, of course, fabricate an answer when interpreting the verse. They said that Jacob meant that if they swore by Allah, maybe it's just
No. That's not what Muhammad said in the Quran. They're twisting the word of Allah, man.
yeah. Well, what else is new? So anyway, so they brought their oath as is written in the Quran, but these are really strange phrases. I mean, this is such tortured
Not strange, not only
language.
strange, it cannot happen. Did they meet with Allah? Allah wrote an oath for them and they gave it to Jacob. How did they? I mean, keep
Yeah.
going, man.
So he says, I will not send him with you until you bring to me a firm oath. Right? And so when they brought him their pledge, he said, Allah is the guardian above what we say. Yeah, but you know what it says here? Until you bring me a firm oath from Allah that you will return him back to me unless you are constrained. So unless you can't.
Which is exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I will unless I'm not able to. So yeah, I'll definitely do it. I promise, unless circumstances prevent it. You're like, that's not a promise. That's like,
So what is the purpose for the strong oath from Allah? What is the
yeah,
purpose?
we will unless we can't. Then it's like, inshallah.
And most likely, when Muslims say inshallah, they meant it's not going to happen.
Exactly. Then what's the point of an oath when it's basically, well, we'll see. We'll find out. We'll
Yeah.
see. Like,
Yeah,
what's the point?
Exactly.
Let's just read. Anyway, so then the Quran has another strange statement which lacks any facts. As Muhammad said, Jacob stated the following in the verses 67 to 68. And he said, "O my sons, do not enter by one door."
I read this when I was in Egypt, like, I don't know, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I was a kid, okay? I was 10 years old. And then I thought, was Egypt at this time like a small city with a big wall and there's one door there? Or maybe a bunch of doors around the wall? And I'm trying to figure this out. Can you imagine a mind of an 8, 19 years old kid reading the Quran, trying to make sense out of it? It did not make any sense.
Yeah, so only walk through double doors, exactly, dude, for Christ. So do not enter by one door and enter by different doors. And yet I cannot profit you against anything decreed by Allah, for the judgment to Allah alone.
If that is the case, and Prophet Jacob knows that, why in the world did he ask him to start with to get an oath from Allah and do on and on? The back and forth we have in the previous couple of verses, what was the purpose of it? If he cannot stop the future, if the fate of his children and what is going to happen is only decreed by Allah, why he is even worried about it?
So yeah, and he says, on him I depend, and on him. So let the depender depend.
Ooh, depend.
I depend on him and on him. So let the depender depend.
That's not poetry. Let me read it to you in the Quran in Arabic. That was 67. Listen, man. This is so beautiful. Listen to this. It says, عليه توكلت وعليه فليتوكل المتوكلون. Allah is beautiful.
That is
See, that's good. That's good.
because
That's
this
poetry.
is like this is giving me like seriously, it's giving me brain cancer just reading this.
No, it's beautiful. It's poetry.
And
It
so
is.
they entered. When they entered, as their father had commanded them, they didn't come
Wow,
by
wow,
land.
wow, wow. So it was not Jacob made a mistake and he did not understand how Egypt is. They actually did exactly enter Egypt from different doors, which means that at this time, Egypt have a big wall and different
And a
doors. So
door.
you go from that door. Okay, Simeon, you go from the Reuben, you go from that door. Okay,
Can someone check on the map if there's a door to Egypt? And when they entered, it was not averted from them anything against Allah, but it only served to satisfy a need in the soul of Jacob. Like, what am I reading? And
Oh, let me explain to you. You don't understand. You know what is a round eye? Look at me, man. Don't look at the book. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Lloyd, please look at me. You know what a round eye is?
it's better than a brown eye, I'll tell
No,
you
no,
that.
no, no, no. Round eye, envy eye. It's like you bought a new car, and I look at the car. Wow, man, that's a nice car, and I'm envious. And then you sit in the car, you drive, bam, accident, and you get yourself damaged, broke your feet, broke your nose, and the car burned down. Okay, that's what happened. Jacob was afraid. If they all go to Egypt together and they all go together from one door, then the people of Egypt will envy them and they get sick or they may die. So wait a minute. When they went to Egypt first time, 10 of them, did they go from 10 different doors or one door? One door. Did they got sick? No. Did they die? No. Why now Jacob is changing his mind? He wants them to go from different doors so nobody envies him. Round eye. Round eye. You don't know what I'm talking about. Man, Lloyd, you know what? I think I'm wasting my time trying to teach you something about Arab culture. But you're not getting it. Did you get what I just said?
No, what? So if you go in by the door, then you end up in Narnia. I think you can do it too. Understands it best.
I saw Narnia. That movie I saw, and it's amazing. I love Narnia. Peter and Lucy and Edmund.
Yeah.
Well,
So we can make the movie the 12 doors into Egypt. Actually, no, it was 11 of them, 10 of them, the 10 doors.
how they get from different doors?
Actually, this is where you get Islam created the band The Doors.
Okay, go to Quran chapter 5. Do me a favor, go to Quran chapter 5. Something about Muhammad and doors, man. And go to verse 20.
In the table, the section called the table.
22, 23, something about doors there. Can you read the door for me?
20. There's nothing about doors. 21. My people enter the. Oh yes. All my people enter the holy land, which Allah has prescribed for you, and do not turn away in your backs. I know. And then 2 men enter.
Yes, verse 23. Verse 20.
Enter
Two men.
from them the door. So when you enter, it surely you will be victorious.
You see, and obviously scholar too. That was Caleb and Joshua. And I
No,
wonder.
he meant. Look, what he meant was go through customs and immigration entry.
But if you study the land according to Book of Numbers, you would discover it have mountains and valleys and rivers and flat land. And I always
Yeah, but those are not doors. You got to go through the door. And Jim Morrison was a Muslim. See the doors, meaning that Islam created the doors, and Jim Morrison is now a Muslim. 100%.
Okay, go back to Joseph. I'm trying to pass a point here. Muhammad liked doors and like windows. Let me put it this way. Remember in the interpretation of David when he was tested by Allah, we're going to get to it later. Okay, when we get to the story of David, you'll find that David actually looked through the window in the Holy of Holiness. And we know from the Bible, there is no window in the Holy of Holiness. That's when he saw the golden bird flying and stopped at the lady where she was taking a bath. And that's when David saw that woman and he brought her in and had sex with her. which is almost the same story in the Bible, except we added the window in the temple, in the Holy of Holies, where there is no window, and the golden bird. See, Muhammad like windows, like doors. He created stuff all the time. Zechariah used to go and check on the Virgin Mary in the Holy of Holies. He put the ladder outside the temple of the temple of the Holy of Holies, and he used to look from the window. You see, Muhammad like windows.
Right. I'm trying to find something here, but you just said the doors and the windows, and that just made me think of Set Adrift on Memory Bliss. The doors, the windows, the passageways in my mind, set adrift on memory bliss. That goes way back from with
That's
PM
cool.
Dawn.
That's really cool. I like that.
I mean, somehow these Quranic stories I make these random references to movies and books.
And
It's
the cat
insanity.
in the hat. And the cat in the hat. I like the cat in the hat. That's a good story.
That's like Detox,
Detox.
And at least it's funny and makes sense. This does not.
Yeah.
So they entered as their father commanded them, but it satisfied a need in the soul of Jacob. And surely he was possessed of knowledge we had taught him, but most people do not know.
Actually, did not have any knowledge. He was stupid. He did not know that Egypt do not have any doors. But that's okay.
Allah
I
told.
tell you the truth. Egyptian never built walls and doors around our country. It's always open land. Okay, go ahead.
Maybe
Maybe Allah and Jacob in the Quran, but not the real God of the Bible, not the real Jacob in the Bible.
archaeology just hasn't caught up with the door of Egypt yet. The
Maybe
different doors.
It was built the following year. Allah did not, the God of the Bible did
This
not know.
is just, I don't know, man. This is just retarded.
Listen.
So
Yeah.
where are we? Hold on, let me just see how far we've got to go. Okay,
That's
let's
it.
begin.
It's coming up, man. We have a good spot to come into it. I feel it.
So
It's joy. It's joy.
but most people don't know about the doors to Egypt. That's important. Allah figured something out there. So in his interpretation, Ibn Kathir stated that Jacob commanded his sons to enter the city from different doors. So Cairo, wherever the heck they were, didn't have doors, but fine. Ibn Kathir stated that Jacob desired to protect them from being envied, for they were beautiful looking.
Ooh, sweet boys. Handsome.
No wonder Al-Aziz's wife, Khadija, or whatever she was, wanted to bonk good old Joseph.
You call Khadija? Khadija. That's Muhammad's wife, Khadija, man. You confused Yusuf now by Muhammad. That's okay.
It just doesn't matter. The facts, don't confuse us with the facts here. Another reason Ibn Kathir is particularly erroneous is that Jacob asked them to enter from separate doors so they could search for Joseph from different places.
You laugh now because there's no mention, but later it's coming. They will actually believe. Jacob knows that Joseph is alive.
Well, had Muhammad been to Egypt even once, he would have known that Egypt is not a city but a large country.
It's big.
Yeah, Muhammad's geography is a little lacking here. Much bigger than Mecca or Medina. It does not have a fence or gate, and there's no way for Jacob's sons to enter from different doors. Yeah. Momo's favorite, nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness going on here.
I remember
what
that.
took place according to the Bible? In Genesis 43, there's no need for any commentary and interpretation because the account speaks for itself. But Usama Darkwing Ducks, right, will summarize. The hunger is severe in the land. Jacob asked his sons to buy more grain from Egypt. Judah said they must take their brother Benjamin with them. Jacob asked, "Why did you do evil to me? Why did you tell the man that ruled in Egypt that he have a brother?" They explained to Jacob what took place in Egypt. Judah begged his father to send Benjamin with them. Jacob, after a long struggle, sent Benjamin and a gift of the best fruit of the land with them. And they took double the silver. Jacob prayed to the mighty God.
No, just double the silver. They were not poor. Okay, go ahead.
Right. That he would give them mercy and that the man of Egypt might release Simeon and Benjamin. Then they went down to Egypt, as written in Genesis 43. I think we can sort of call it a day here. And if you want to hear the next exciting episode of Joseph in Egypt and the doors, tune in next week.
Second trip.
What?
And then we're going to go to the third trip. And then we're going to go to the fourth trip. Who knows? Muhammad add more trips beyond your imagination. MashaAllah. Don't forget now, the cat is in the hat. I want to watch I need to read that book, Cat in a Hat.
The Cat in the Hat. Yeah, we need to let's find that. The cat. So, guys, if you want to recover from this, I am going to strongly
read some of Dr. What's his name?
Seuss, whatever. Dr. Seuss, Dr. Seuss, whatever.
Seuss. His name is Seuss.
Dr. Seuss.
That's a weird. Doctor.
This is the movie. I guess it was really bad. I'm pretty sure it was pretty bad. That's what I always read. That the movie was really bad. But guys, I strongly recommend sort of getting into.
Strongly recommend to read Dr.
Just
Seuss
read
book.
this instead. If you just stay away from Islam.
Dear Muslim friends, to understand the Quran, please read Dr. Seuss book.
You want some good literature? Try this stuff. This will stay with you your whole life. Leave pleasant memories.
But do you know that Dr. Seuss book have good lessons in it? The Quran, there is not one good lesson.
Well, this has a lot of good lessons, and your kids will love it. Yeah. You will. If you're a kid, you're going to love it, and you're going to grow up, and you're going to remember it.
And if you made a mistake and you open the Quran and you read one page to your kids, they look at you like you're nuts. They think you lost your mind.
See, like says here, cat in a hat. Ah, they scream. That could have gone better, remarked the cat. And then Sally ran this away and that way, and he says, I'm the cat in the hat, he said with a bow. Nice place, you two must love it here. We're bored out of our minds, said Conrad. But this house is full of fun, said the cat. He checked the kids with his funometer. Yep, he said, you two have a classic case of the worst day evers. I know just the cure.
Oh, the worst day ever, to spend enough time with us listening to the Quran.
Yeah, so if you're having one of the worst day evers,
yeah,
you know,
please,
you know where to come. Just join us.
Cat in the Hat was Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, if you thought your life was bad, just come to the channel, listen to the talk about the Quran, and then just realize that things are not that bad.
Count your mini blessing, okay? All right, Lloyd, we missed you last week. Don't do that again, man. We cannot do it without you. We feel like we're lost. We feel like we need some help.
I feel like I'm lost now myself.
After the Quran, we're just
after this. So, guys, yeah, that's how I feel. This was interesting as usual.
Amen. Well, love you, brother. Appreciate all those on the chat. I hope you like the hat and the cat.
Yep. So, thanks all. It's been really fun doing this today. This is the most retarded.
Why you lie? Say it was fun when I know you're sick in your head and you have.
It is no fun. It is the most retarded book.
Why you lying, man? I thought you're a Christian.
This is the most retarded book I've ever read.
See, now you change your mind from more fun to retarded book. Make up your mind. Is it retarded writing or a fun writing?
I was being rhetorical.
Oh, I see. No problem. That way I can take it. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we'll be back soon. We're going to be talking more about this and teaching you things about Joseph that you just wish were never written. Last word, Usama.
God is good. Our dear Muslim friends, please read your Quran. And if it makes sense to you, don't bother even to open the Genesis account, especially in the Joseph story. But if you could not figure out what is going on, why not give God a chance? I'm sincere about that. Go to Genesis chapter 36 and read the entire story of Joseph. It will take you maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And believe me, it will be much sweeter, much material to be understood very easily. You don't need any scholar. And you will find out how empty the Quran is. Just read the same story in the Genesis account. God bless you all. Appreciate it, Brother Lloyd. Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night. God bless. Cheers, everyone. Bye.